Hello and welcome to Gameonysus Weekly, your one-stop shop for video game news, keeping up with the biggest stories so you don't have to. I'm your host, Janet Garcia, and today we're talking about the SEC investigating Activision Blizzard, Toby Fox's Deltarune plans, and the Nintendo Direct. All these stories and so much more on today's episode. Starting with the SEC investigates Activision Blizzard and Bobby Kotick. This comes over from Megan Forokomesh over at Axios, who writes, the Securities and Exchange Commission is investigating Activision Blizzard in regards to the company's recent scandal over sexual misconduct and discrimination at the company, the Wall Street Journal reports. Why it matters. The investigation is the latest in a series of high-profile escalations against Activision Blizzard. CEO Bobby Kotick, as well as several other executives, have been subpoenaed. The SEC has asked for communications from Kotick and senior executives around complaints of company harassment. The SEC is seeking documents including minutes from Activision board meetings since 2019, personnel files of 6 former employees, and separation agreements the company has reached this year with staffers, per Wall Street Journal. A spokesperson for Activision Blizzard told Axios that the company is cooperating with the SEC. The big picture. The fallout from Activision Blizzard's scandal shows no signs of slowing down. Last week, a union supporting Activision Blizzard workers filed a complaint to the National Labor Relations Board. Shareholders have slammed the company's efforts to improve its culture so far, saying those promises do not go nearly far enough to address the deep and widespread issues with equity, inclusion, and human capital management that the company is facing. California expanded its anti-discrimination lawsuit against Activision Blizzard in August to include temporary workers. And I'm inclined to agree with Forokomesh's contextualization here, the big picture part of, hey, this thing is not slowing down. I've been saying that for several weeks now across different episodes as stories keep coming up, whether they're things from workers, things from other folks who are in solidarity with these workers, things from different entities seeking justice on different levels against Activision Blizzard. And I expect more to come. I don't think we're nearly done seeing all there is to see with this. And it just seems like the more digging happens, the deeper things get. And I think it's a long time until we reach the bottom of everything. If we ever even reach the bottom of everything. I mean, the truth is not all of this stuff will necessarily come to light, but this is just of what we're getting is still a lot. And I think that says a lot about the situation. In last week's episode, while highlighting free games, I mentioned that Deltarune Chapter 2 is finally out and available for free. Now we have some extra context as to why it's for free and when we can expect the rest of the game to come, because this has been definitely a long process between chapters and a lot of fans are eager to hear what's happening with this next game, Deltarune, which is a work that is spearheaded by Toby Fox, creator of Undertale. So obviously there's a lot of hype around this, and Chapter 1 was received really well. Chapter 2 is also being received really well. I've actually only played 1, so I can't speak to 2. But again, here is what's going on with the future of that game as posted on the official Deltarune website. The update reads, "Hi everyone, the world has been really tough for everybody recently, so I decided to release Deltarune Chapter 2 for free. I guess like a pet cat that drops bugs at your doorstep, I can, with some pride, show you the weird things I've been doing. I'm not sure it will help, but I hope so. Just one request. Please remember, games like this aren't normally free. If you can afford it, spend the money you saved from getting this game for free by supporting other indie developers. If you really want to give me money, buy the soundtrack from Bandcamp. Thank you." There's also a section talking about the creation of the game, which originally started as a solo project and has since grown into something larger. So there are now a lot of other people involved in this project, and it's not just Toby Fox making it by himself. The credits are then listed of all the people that are involved in Deltarune Chapter 2. And there's some other info throughout the update, but the big thing is the next chapter section, which reads, "Originally, I had planned to release chapters only when all of them are finished, but honestly, it's hard for both creators and fans to go a long time without a release. So I changed my mind. I think most people will be happy about this. My next goal is to complete chapters 3, 4, and 5 for next time. Then at that time, I'll ask people to buy the game at the price of the first 5 chapters, including 1 and 2. I don't know the price yet, but it's definitely going to cost more than Undertale. So next time you want to ask, when's chapter 3? You can ask, when can I buy chapter 3, 4, and 5? I'll give you a lot of money." I won't know the answer until it's done, though. A few quick things to note from this. I think it's super cool, him drawing out the attention that, hey, Most of the times games are not free. So if you have the money to just buy a different developer's games, you know, put it back into the ecosystem, I think it's really cool to shout that out. And I will say, I also think it's pretty amusing to have the mention of it definitely being more than Undertale. I'm not sure if it was even cheaper at launch, but currently on Steam, Undertale is $9.99, so like $10, which is wild considering how popular and like influential and like what a big deal that game is to so many people. I mean, it really did take the internet by storm. I know plenty of people that consider that to be their favorite game, like one of the best games of all time. Again, personally, I didn't connect with Undertale. I don't really see what other people see in Undertale. Maybe if I played it again, I'd feel differently about it. I don't know, but that puts me highly in the minority. Like, people adore Undertale, so for it to be such a acclaimed game and only $10 is also just insane. So I think it makes sense to be increasing the price. I also think, you know, with the size of the team and everything involved, we'll see what it ends up costing when it does come out. And I'm excited that the rest of the game will just be the entirety of the game, especially in the era of us moving away from like the episodic game, like the recent Life is Strange that came out, True Colors. That's just one chunk of a game. Like, it's broken into chapters still, but it all comes out at once. And I think stuff is better that way overall. Like, that's my preferred method of consumption. So I'm excited for this to drop and have the whole thing. I am curious as to how long it's going to be before that happens, but you know, it's going to take as long as it's going to take. And speaking of indie games, here's a fun fact. Fall Guys has a Guinness World Record for being the most downloaded PlayStation Plus game ever. This comes over from Wesley and Poole at Eurogamer, who writes, Fall Guys has a Guinness World Record for being the most downloaded PlayStation Plus game ever. Developer Mediatonic made the announcement on its website without saying exactly how many PlayStation Plus downloads it has seen. Fall Guys exploded onto the scene last summer, launching on PC and PS4 straight into PlayStation Plus. Its clever combination of platforming and battle royale made for fun and addictive arcade gameplay, and 24 hours after its release, it had more than 1.5 million players. As of December 20th, Fall Guys has sold more than 11 million copies on PC alone. We just want to say a huge thank you to the wonderful Fall Guys community. Mediatonic said, "Moments like this would be literally impossible without your enthusiasm, feedback, and support." And while it'd be fun to have like the raw numbers of everything to really like put things completely in perspective, it is wild to think of it being the most downloaded PS Plus game, especially because PlayStation Plus tends to be most celebrated when it's a title people know. Now, granted, I think you can make the argument that maybe people be less inclined to download a game they already have, but I think a lot of times when there's these random straight to PS Plus games, they sort of come with like a little bit of baggage to them sometimes. It's like, okay, well, why is this going straight to like PlayStation Plus? Like, I think there can be sometimes context for it, but I feel like PlayStation Plus is often sort of a, not Hail Mary toss. I think that sounds like a little bit too desperate, but it very much is a let's try to draw up attention for this game. And I think that usually has a bit of a mixed result more than anything. So for this to be the most downloaded game on PlayStation Plus, I think really speaks to how intriguing the concept was to people, and also the proof of concept, because, you know, people started playing it and it has only continued to grow from there. So even though, again, Fall Guys didn't connect with me, you know, it's this is like things that didn't connect with me section of the show, but clearly there's something there that keeps people coming back. And for many of us, it started with downloading it on PlayStation Plus. And part PSA, this is awkwardly late because it came at a weird time. Let's talk about The Last of Us Day. The Last of Us Day is September 26th, which is Sunday. Now, I record the show on Saturday, post it for patrons, and then it goes live for everybody on Monday. So by the time you're listening to this, chances are there's already been like the info on like what is this new content from The Last of Us, which, bearing the lead on the PlayStation blog, there's going to be new content for The Last of Us, in addition to like a merch drop that they're doing in honor of Last of Us Day. The new content will be revealed on September 26th at 9 a.m. PT. This could be something really massive. It could be something as small as like some type of patch. And of course, this could be the rumored Last of Us 1 remake. But I don't want to speculate on too much because, like I said, by the time you're listening to this will already be out of date. And next week on the show, of course, I'm sure I'll be talking about whatever it was, unless it's like so small that's not worth mentioning, which I imagine will at least be part of our like game updates section of the show. Other than that, PlayStation gear, there's like new merch in stock if you're interested in that kind of thing. Now let's talk about the Nintendo Direct that happened, and we had like maybe like a 24-hour, 2-day notice or something. I don't know. And now let's talk about the Nintendo Direct. As usual, I will be pulling from Fan Bytes recap of the event, but I will also be drawing from an article written by Nicole Carpenter over on Polygon, contextualizing one of the updates we got. Starting off with some Monster Hunter Rise content, we got a trailer announcing Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is going to be coming summer 2022. So already it's like, okay, it's not just winter then, like they said it would be. Well, they said mainly winter, but you know. We got another look at Mario Party Superstars, which showed off some of the returning boards and like what they look like in the new game. Stuff like Woody Woods, Yoshi's Tropical Star, Horrorland, and a minigame only mode that has 7 courses. And a reminder that Mario Party Superstars releases on October 29th, so it is just around the corner. We got a first look at Voice of Cards, The Isle of Dragon Roars. This is a card game that's coming from Square Enix. And it's going to be coming out on October 28th, but there's already a demo available. So if you're into card games and you're curious about this one, definitely download and check out the demo. Disco Elysium Final Cut is getting a port to Switch. The digital version of the game is available October 12th, but if you want a physical version, you're going to have to wait a little bit, and those will be available early 2022. This is a super acclaimed RPG, and the Final Cut, one nice thing about it is it gives full voice acting to the game. So if you're one of those people who has a hard time going through RPGs when there's no voice acting, you're in luck. Final Cut is going to be the version that you're going to want, and now you can play it on the go. The Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC is finally going to be closing out with a new story scenes, a full closing to the game's alternate story, and new characters coming into the game. That's happening on October 29th. We got to look at a new racing game from Square Enix, Chocobo GP. This is a Chocobo racing game. It will be available in 2022, and honestly, it looks like a standard kart racer, very Mario Kart-like, but also it's pretty cute looking. We'll see how it actually ends up being. We didn't get that final Smash reveal. Instead, we got a notice saying that the final Smash Ultimate reveal will be happening on October 5th, 7 a.m. PT, and it'll be that as well as like showing off how the character works, and that will be the end of that DLC. We got to look at the next Kirby game. It's Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And the big thing to note here is it's going to be in 3D. That's right, it's the first 3D platformer in the franchise ever. It looks really cool. Cute, colorful, nice art style. It's sort of set in this like dystopian setting, which is interesting because Kirby's like a really charming, cute character, and like you don't really think of the world ending when you think of Kirby. Though I guess in terms of Smash Bros, you might think of things ending when you think of Kirby. Kirby's had a weird role, but very adapted character. One of my favorites. I'm excited about this one. Definitely have enjoyed a lot of the Kirby games and have been waiting for one to sort of win me over after Star Allies didn't really hit for me. So hopefully this is a little bit more intriguing. Looks pretty cool. We'll see if they can pull off the transition into 3D. And after all this time, there's finally a significant Animal Crossing update coming through, and it's Brewster. The Roost is back, y'all. Coffee has made its way back into Animal Crossing, and more details will be coming in October when there's going to be an Animal Crossing Direct. That date is TBD. They haven't said it yet. And Brewster will be available in November along with other content. It's Brewster and more. And again, that Direct's dropping in October. Now, really quick here, I do want to interject with Nicole Carpenter's article at Polygon Animal Crossing. Who is Brewster and why are people excited for him? Because I've gotten to know who Brewster is from the community, but I don't have like the best grasp of Brewster only because I didn't play games where Brewster was present. I only played New Horizons. So without spending too much time on it, I'm going to read some snippets of this article. Brewster made his first appearance in 2005's Animal Crossing Wild World. Since then, he's run a coffee shop inside the various games museums until New Leaf when he opened his own store. His behavior personalities have kind of varied from game to game. Carpenter writes, Brewster typically starts out a little bit shy, sort of like Sable from the clothing shop. You'll get more familiar with him the more you step in for coffee, and he'll start getting more friendly. Sometimes you can get a special drink like pigeon milk. He's also particular about how players drink coffee. If you don't drink it hot, you'll get on his bad side. Brewster is also pretty into gyroids, Animal Crossing's unique little cactus-esque figures that are sometimes alive. In City Folks, players could store their collection in the Roost. In New Leaf, Brewster's role became a bit more involved. He's still there slinging coffee, but players who befriended him will get options to order takeout and then eventually get a part-time job at the Roost. So you, too, can make coffee for villagers. Regulars at the Roost can get specialized coffee, too. And then sort of for the why do people care, it might sound like Brewster hasn't added a ton of gameplay to other games. The coffee he serves doesn't add any special benefit to a character that purchases it. The incentive is that you're able to befriend another character in the game's world. For me, Brewster's presence felt so natural given the sense of daily ritual that attracts me to Animal Crossing. I'll pull out weeds, water my garden, get a coffee from Brewster. The roost itself also feels like a community gathering spot, another place where you can have new interactions with other villagers, plus KK Slider often performs there. Plenty of folks also really enjoyed having a part-time job at the Roost in New Leaf. Scenario Coffee is a fun little minigame that feels unlike anything else currently offered in New Horizons, and a lot of fans are eager to see what Nintendo might iterate on there. We got a Mario Golf update, which includes Koopa Trooper and Ninja, plus 2 new courses, and those updates are already available for free. We got Disney Magical World 2 Enchanted Edition, which is basically an updated version of the 3DS game. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is coming to Switch, but it is not the remake that was announced really recently for PS5. It is just the old version of Knights of the Old Republic. That's dropping on November 11th. Dying Light 2 is getting a cloud version on Nintendo Switch, and along with that, Dying Light Platinum Edition will be coming out on October 19th, and that doesn't seem to be the cloud version, that's just the regular version of the game. Project Triangle Strategy has dropped the project, and it's now just called Triangle Strategy. For those who missed it, this is developed by Square Enix and ArtDink, and this is a role-playing strategy game. It is in that HD 2D style. And the game will be coming out March 4th, 2022. We got another trailer for Metroid Dread, which is coming out on October 8th. Nintendo is finally updating its online service, but you will have to pay for those updates. It's been 2 years since the launch of the service, and the update includes a new membership plan called Expansion Pack. The Expansion Pack includes N64 games and Sega Genesis games, and that'll be dropping in late October. They'll share more about the pricing at a later date. And the N64 games will include 4-player online. The launching N64 titles include Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Yoshi's Story, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Winback, Mario Tennis, Dr. Mario 64, and Sin and Punishment. And from the Sega Genesis, it will feature Castlevania, Bloodlines, Contra Hard Corps, Echo the Dolphin, Golden Axe, Gunstar Heroes, Shining Force, Phantasy Star 4, and more. Nintendo has also already revealed what games are coming in the future, or at least a few of the games that are coming in the future, including games like Majora's Mask, Pokemon Snap, F-Zero X, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, Paper Mario, and Banjo-Kazooie. And they also revealed an N64 controller and a Sega Genesis controller like that. They're specifically for the Switch, and those are going to be $50 each. We saw the Shadowrun trilogy from Paradox, which contains 3 games from the series, including Castlevania Advance Collection, which also includes Dracula X. Shadowrun trilogy from Paradox, containing 3 games from the series, is coming to Switch. The Castlevania Advance Collection, which includes Dracula X, is officially announced and is out now. ActRaiser Renaissance gets an HD remaster/remake for Switch, and you can change from the new and old remake music, and that is out now. Deltarune Chapter 2 is coming to Switch. Deltarune Chapter 2 is out on Switch, so that means both Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 are playable on Switch for free. Miyamoto came through to talk about the upcoming Super Mario movie that is coming from Illumination. It's releasing holiday 2022. The US release date is December 21st, 2022. And alongside this, the cast was officially revealed, including Chris Pratt as Mario, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, with the mention that Charles Martinet, who's Mario's in-game voice, will be making surprise cameos throughout the movie, and a few side characters were also highlighted. We got another look at Splatoon 3, and this time it was focused on the single-player story specifically, and the name of the story mode is Return of the Mammalians, which is maybe alluding to like mammals coming back, because in this world there's just like the squid kids, and the only like other creatures are the 2 cats that judge the turf wars, which it makes sense when you play it, but explaining it's kind of weird. And the city hub is called Splatsville, and that's still just vaguely set for 2022. And to close out, we finally see some Bayonetta 3, which was announced a number of years ago, and the trailer culminates into a 2022 release window. Overall, I feel like it was a pretty solid showing for the Direct. I was pleasantly surprised by it. I went into it expecting very much nothing from it, mostly because as soon as they gave that, hey, we're mainly talking about stuff coming out in winter 2021, I'm like, all right, well, I already know what's coming out winter 2021. So I figured the whole thing would just be mainly focusing on the stuff we already knew. And while it was still, I would say, largely that, getting an Animal Crossing update is huge. I think seeing Splatoon 3 gives a little bit of reassurance, because Nintendo does occasionally announce titles and then you just don't hear from them for a really long time or ever, and then you just kind of wonder what happened to them. So I'm glad to see that it looks like Splatoon 3 won't end up in that sort of weird middle state that a lot of games find themselves in, which brings me to Bayonetta. Again, I personally haven't played any Bayonetta games, but that's a really beloved franchise, a really quality franchise. So it's cool for that to finally, be talked about and acknowledged. It's definitely the kind of thing that people expect every direct, but also don't expect at all, because it's been so long that like it'll either be here any day now or never. So it's great for those fans that it was finally there on that day of the direct. A couple other like light wins, like I think Disco Elysium on Switch is a good get. I'm here for Switch getting some, good indie games on it, and, folks having more places to play great games. The casting of the Mario movie is pretty wild. Some of those are like really good. Like, okay, Charlie Day as Luigi, like those things make a lot of sense. I will say Chris Pratt as Mario is not my favorite, mostly because Chris Pratt is not a very good person, so that's kind of awkward. We'll see what happens with that. I am excited to see the movie. I just am interested to see what they end up doing with it and where it stands against all the other video game movies. I think that'll be fun. Oh, and I would say the other really big thing for me personally, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I love Kirby. Kirby's a great, like, as much as I like it, more of like a that B, maybe even C tier Nintendo hit. But I love Kirby. I have so much fun playing those games. And like I mentioned earlier, Star Allies didn't really hit for me, so I'm hoping this will be the thing that kind of pulls me back in. I mean, I will say, like, I don't think I'd ever really leave the Kirby franchise. Like, it's just fun. Like, when Kirby's good, it's really good. Like Kirby Planet Robobot. I think the game on Wii U was really good too. I believe that one was Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Kirby's also like one of my earlier video game memories, playing those games on various handhelds. So yeah, shout out to Kirby, holding it down. Such a fun character. You can do so many like interesting, playful things with Kirby. I'm excited for what this turns into, and hopefully again they can pull off that shift to 3D, because not everyone can. And now for game releases and updates. The Life is Strange Remastered collection has a release date after being delayed, and it's February 1st, 2022, and that includes Life is Strange Remastered and Life is Strange Before the Storm Remastered as well. And a Jackbox Party Pack 8 is set to release on October 14th, 2021, and it's supposed to feature 5 new games. And those are all the stories we have for this week. Thank you so much for watching over on youtube.com/Gameonysus. Be sure to like, subscribe, tap the bell, and leave a comment. And for listening on podcast services, be sure to subscribe on your platform of choice and leave a review if possible, because it helps the show a whole lot. And as always, a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. You too can join over on patreon.com/Gameonysus. We have rewards as low as $1 all the way up to the $25 tier. And as always, I will see you here next time. Bye.